Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be going over Milestone 3 of the Atwood residence for ABT 114. Our starting point is on the end of Milestone 2, of course. What we're going to do from here, however, until week 5, which is when we're going to go over page layouts and all the stuff that we see at the bottom of the screen, what we're going to do is we're going to have to get rid of this guy. But just hold on for a moment. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to perform a save as function and then just save it as your M3 instead of M2, which is what you've been doing already. But you want to essentially have made a copy of that file. So if I was to go into my file location, I can see both the M2 that says working for me, that's just what I was using, and you can see your M3, which is what we just created. Cool. Mainly because this is our jumping off point for this assignment. I need to just double check to make sure some dimensions are there. Later on, you may notice that I'm going to call out certain dimensions for certain things. I'm noticing that these columns may not be dimensioned, and we don't have the scaling for that, but that's perfectly fine. We'll get there when we get there. For right now, we need to focus on modifying this guy so we can draw this. So our starting point, again, is here. What I'm going to do first, I'm just going to delete the beam here. I'm going to remove the hatch. I'm going to remove all the windows and the beam pockets. What I will do is I will grab this this break line. I'm just going to move it out of the way. Just like so. And then I'm going to remove this stair, because we'll redraw it later. I'm going to remove the footing lines that go all the way around the project. Just like so. And once we've done that, we still have to remove a couple additional things. I'm going to remove the inner face of the wall here. And I'm going to remove the interface there. Now, I will just double check with myself the dimension from here to here should be 37 feet 4 inches, which it is. Right. You may notice that when I check this dimension, 37.4, it's the same on this guy, 37.4. The height is going to be the same as well. That's no coincidence. But we're going to go over that, and or we went over that already in the PowerPoint for this milestone. Great. Next up, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab my wall command, and I'm just going to go around. I'm just going to make these exterior walls. I'm going to basically offset them in the same exact distance that the other walls. I'm trying to remember. I can't think right now. That the foundation walls were offset to. I'm just gonna double check myself again. Just want to make sure that I'm using the right numbers for things. Again, I don't. This is all very new, so and by the time you're watching this may not be new. I just need to verify the dimensions here. So yeah, our exterior walls are going to be 5.5 inches, and our interior are 3.5. I will put that on a note for you guys on the actual page. Anyways, I'm going to perform an offset command by 5.5 inches. I'm going to go all the way around the exterior. Left, up. And I'm going to trim them all to make them one cohesive unit, essentially. Just like so. Keep in mind, this is probably going to be a longer video. You may see by the timestamp, but this, I'm also going kind of fast. This may take you a little bit longer. Cool. From here, what I'm going to do is I am going to grab or keep on my lines. I'm going to draw a line. I want to make this, I'm going to do the walls on the inside now. Essentially, it's all I'm trying to say. And this wall here is 5 feet, 5.5 inches down from the exterior face of that wall. I'm going to do an offset, 5 feet, 5.5 inches, just like that. And I'm going to do another offset by 5.5 inches to give this wall some thickness. Why is this one 5.5 inches? Well, that's because this is a plumbing wall, meaning it is a thicker wall, of course. I'm going to draw this vertical wall here now. I'm going to start. I need to get the left and the right side, but you can see here that it grows. I'll get into that in a moment. 9 feet, 11 1/8. Offset. 9 feet, 11 1/8 from the outside here. And I'm going to offset this in 3.5 inches to the right. Again, because that's where the dimensions go from. I'm going to take a brief pause. I can see that this wall doesn't go beyond this wall here. This doesn't go beyond this. You can see that in here. So I'm simply going to just zoom in a bit, trim this all together, just like so. Trim up the ends. I'm actually going to leave that bottom one. Oops, a little too far. I just undid all that. I'm going to leave that bottom one because I don't believe this wall goes all the way down. It doesn't. But for now, that's fine. You can also kind of think about how we're drawing these walls. You draw whatever wall is next in the order that would be the next, like the end of that wall. So we drew this wall here. I know my cursor is kind of light, but we drew this plumbing wall here. And this wall goes all the way to this vertical. So we drew this vertical, and this wall goes all the way down to this horizontal here. So I'm going to draw that. It's at 13 feet, 11 3/4. So offset 13 feet, 11 3/4. And that is from the bottom, or the exterior side of the wall to the top of this wall. So from here, and then offset 3.5 inches down, trim out just like that. And I'm also going to do a trim command here. Great. This is looking phenomenal. What I'm going to do now is I am going to draw this vertical guy here. Again, same kind of deal. Why we're drawing this guy now. I'm looking to make sure that, yes, I have the next piece. So this wall, to the left face of this wall, 16 feet, 8 9/16. Offset 16 feet, 8 9/16. Kind of a long one. Exterior to left side. Exterior to left side. Offset 3.5. To the right. Trim. 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 Too much. Next up, this wall, it dies out on this guy here. After I draw this one, I'm going to go through and I'm going to do the interior side here because that's good. This guy, I could even go over here. There's a couple different avenues and there's no right order as long as you get there in the end, of course. I'm going to do an offset command by 4 feet, 2 11/16. As per this dimension here, goes from top to top. Offset this down by 3.5 inches. An extend command, trim that out, trim that out, trim that out. Now, you will end up with things like this where you have this extra bit of line work in this wall. Just make sure you're cleaning that up as you go. And we're already here and we're already making great progress. We just drew the laundry room. Now what I'm going to do, I want to get this vertical wall here, and I'm not going to worry about its full extension just yet, or maybe I will. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to bring this over 3 feet 9.5 to the left of this wall here. Offset 3 feet 9 1/2. Just like so. Offset it by 3.5. And here I'm going to do a fillet command. Fillet these together, then trim that. This is going to end up being our stairwell, but remember, this wall doesn't go all the way down, and we do have a dimension prescribed for that. 7 feet, 8 3/8. Offset, 7 feet, 8 3/8. Oops. Offset, 7 feet, 8 3/8. Yeah, mix that up. Top of this to the bottom of there. So, I'm just going to offset once, trim, delete, trim off the bottom. And I'm going to leave that like that. And a good time to save. This is looking great so far. Next up, I'm going to do the interior of this room. The interior of this room, the first thing I want to touch is these walls here. This little closet here. It is 3 feet 3 13/16 from the left side, or the exterior side of the wall to the left side of this. So offset 3 feet 3 13/16. So offset 3.5. So and leaving that as is for now. And then it's vertical. It is 2 feet 3.5 from the top of this wall to the top of that wall. Offset 2 feet 3.5. Top of this wall to the top of that. Offset 3.5. Now I'm just going to use a simple fillet. So trim, trim, and erase. Trim this guy here. And we got that wall situated. A lot of these wall locations and why certain things are in certain areas will make a lot more sense when we get to the doors and windows. But that's not this week. Cool. Next up, we have this double closet here. Of course, I'm going to talk about this plumbing wall here in a moment, but I would like to draw this guy. I'm going to do the vertical first, 3 feet 5.5 from left to left. Offset 3 feet 5, 1/2. 3 feet 5.5. Offset 3.5. I'm even going to trim that out now. And I'm going to do these horizontal ones now. Offset by 2 feet 3.5. Offset 2 feet 3.5. Offset 2, 3, 5. Perfect. 2 feet 3.5. Top to top. Offset 3.5 down. And then we have a second one. 2 feet 5 3/4. Offset 2 feet 5.75. Top to top. Top, offset 3.5 down. I'm going to use a fillet command. Fillet these together. And then trim, trim, trim. Now, this is also a plumbing wall here. We can update it in one of a couple different ways. We know the plumbing wall is 5.5 inches thick and the wall is currently 3.5. The smartest way is to use a stretch command. So why don't we do that? I'm going to use the stretch command. Grab it to make sure I have the points and the lines. Enter to confirm selection. And pull to the left 2 inches. And there we have it. That is looking great. I'm going to do a save. And we're just going to start with this level 1 first. We'll get into these other elements next. Awesome. I'm going to double check the dimensions for these columns. That makes sense. It's 1 foot square columns with a 2 foot 2 inch base. Sounds about right. And those columns sit on top of these. They do. It's just a fact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a line tool. From the center of this guy here, I'm going to go up by 6 inches. The right by 6 inches. Down 12, left 12, up 12, and I'm just going to fill it together. This is the same exact process as when we were putting the column footing or the square column footings around our, what are they called? Around our lally columns, except the footing is technically bigger, or our, yeah, it's a footing. Our footing is technically bigger. Okay, so we also know that the bigger column there is 2 feet 2 inches, where 2 feet 2 inches, this is simple math, 2 feet 2 inches minus 12 inches, because a foot by a foot, that is going to be 14 inches remaining, or 1 foot 2 inches. Again, 2 feet minus 1 foot equals a foot. That's pretty basic. And then 14 inches, which is the, again, you know what I'm saying. 14 inches divided by 2 is 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset by 7 inches all the way around this guy. Use the fillet command. Clean this all up. I'm going to check my math. Yep, 2 feet 2, 1 foot. I'm going to grab this line work I just created, except for the circle. I'm going to copy it by a known point from the center of the circle, and I'm just going to paste it in all of these guys. Same thing on the bottom. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to delete what I would like to do now is I want to check to make absolutely certain that this is right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an annotation style, and I'm going to it'll help me to check my work as I'm going. Highly recommend you do this. This will save you points on your assignments. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the annotate tab. Under text right here, I get the text box editor. Of course, we went over this. I'm going to make sure it's annotative. Arial hypertext height is 0 inches. Annotative. Perfect. Set current and close. I'm then going to click on this dimensions right here. Just like so. And then I'm going to go to the annotative one and then modify. In here, I'm going to start at lines. I'm going to make sure that my extend beyond dim lines is set to 1/8. Or maybe even a 16th, I believe that's what it says. Symbols and arrows, or arrow size is 1/8 of an inch. Good. Text style is annotative. Our text height is 1/8 of an inch. Text placement vertical is above and aligned with dimension line. And under fit, we're making sure it's annotative. Primary units is architectural. Turn off 0 suppression. Click OK. Set current. Close. Now I'm going to grab a leader, or grab a dimension, and it's asking me to create an annotative object, set an annotative scale. I'm just going to verify, yeah. So when you're doing this, you may need to, and you probably will need to, change the scale on the bottom. Ooh, I am zoomed in still. You may need to change the scale on the bottom of your screen. I'm going to set this to be 1/4 of an inch equals a foot. And then I'm going to use a dimension. And I'm just going to kind of copy the dimensions I see here, right? I'll get to these lines in a moment. I'm going to just go through and dimension. So on the top here, goes from the exterior here, just like so. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to change my current layer to a dimension, change this to a dimension. Go into my annotate and do a continue command. Where else does this go? This simply, oh, I even missed this bathroom that's up here. So see, it'll help you make and catch mistakes. I'm going to go to my a wall layer again, and I need to draw this bathroom, mudroom, walkthrough area, whatever. It's 5 feet 6 inches down and 5 3 7/8. I'm just going to do the 5 3 7/8 first. Offset 5 feet 3 and 7/8 from the left side of this wall, the left side here. So offset 3.5, then bring that to the right. I'm going to bring this down 5 feet 6 inches, off 5 6. Exterior to there. Is that the top? Let's just double check. It is. So I'm going to offset this down 3.5. And finally, we have this guy here, 4 foot 6 1/4. I'm gonna offset down 4 foot 6 1/4 off 4 foot 6 to 5. Set offset 3 5. Cool. I'm then gonna do a trim command right in here, erase that excess. I'm gonna just zoom in and do a trim command. Trim. This goes in like that, and that gets deleted. So, and just trim it all up, clean it all up. And that looks great. Now what I can do is I can go around and do my dimensions just to verify. Our dimensions in this class we've been doing to the left side of the wall. Just like so. And then we also have the total dimension, 63 and change. Here to here. Perfect. What I recommend to you is you go through and you check your dimensions and then delete them afterwards. Because we're going to do that together later. Great, so let's actually put line work on these porches because we can see there is. Very easy. Make sure that you have your wall layer current. All it's doing is it's going from here straight up and then essentially from here straight down. They're aligned with these corners essentially, so you can literally draw a line from this corner to this corner and just trim it and then copy it because we know the distance is the same. Ahead of myself, just like so. Then grab all that, mirror other side. Nice and easy. Another save command. Next up, I'm going to do the stair on here, and I'm going to reference my stair plan first floor, my A5.2 sheet for this. I'm going to move this in. Also notice I have dimensions here. It's going to start 4 foot 1 and 7/16 of an inch up, which is difficult, but that's okay. Offset 4 foot 1 and 7/16 of an inch up. Start there. I'm going to change this to be a stair layer and make sure I'm on my stair layer. That's my start point. This stair runs along this wall. The stair is also 4 feet wide. I'm just going to grab a point right here and then do 48 for 4 feet and then simply delete that extension. I'm going to do an offset of 10 going up. Right up until I get to right past wall here. Like I'm gonna do the one following the wall. Next up, I'm gonna draw the railing, or I'm gonna actually finish this line. I'm gonna draw the. Is that right? It is. I'm just gonna draw this. So, the reason this looks like this currently is this stair is open on the right. And this break line, we're essentially looking down into the basement here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to draw the railing for this guy. I'm gonna put the break line in. We're gonna trim out this side, and then we're gonna do the other side. It's gonna be pretty basic. It's gonna be pretty easy. So what I'm gonna have to do is, again, 1.5 inches away from the wall here. That's stair code, and then 2-inch wide rail. Off 1.5 inches. Off 2. Select those lines I just made and make sure it's on the A rail layer. Trim that out. I'm gonna even leave these pieces in. I'm not. I'm just gonna erase all with my trim command. Next up, I am going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna offset by 3 1/4. So that dimension says right here. Offset by 3 1/4 and then by 2 inches. I'm going to do a match properties command to match that, and then trim here. Reason it's different on this side is so it ends up technically going along where this wall is and it's supported better. This is fairly common. Cool. Next up, I'm going to put this break line in. the break line is actually going to go right up to this wall line here. That is what that 7 foot in change dimension was. It's 7, 8, and 3/8 goes from here to the break line. So I'm going to just simply grab the break line I saved earlier. I'm just going to do a CO copy command, grab it from like the right side of the line somewhere, and I'm just going to put it on there, just like so. From here, I may want to move it a little bit, use a move command, get it roughly centered. Looks good. Next up, I'm going to use a trim command, and I'm going to erase, again, everything north of this line, except for the railing on this side, notably. This side, I will get rid of it. And keep note that this looks right. Looks good. Next up, we have the stair at the top. It's going to start 2 feet 6 and 13/16 from the top wall there. Offset 2, 6, and 13/16. Like so. Offset it down. Use a match properties command to make sure that this is the stairs. Trim that out. I have my A stair layer on. I'm going to offset this out by 10 inches going down. Potentially one more. Notice that they don't line up. That is fairly common. I'm going to trim it out already just so I don't potentially screw myself. That looks right. I'm going to trim out the railing on this side, like so. And then I have to draw the railing on the opposite side. Again, 1.5 inches away from the wall, 2-inch wide rail. Offset 1.5. Offset 2. Match properties. Match properties. Make sure it's a rail. Trim. Trim. Oh. That is good. That's your first floor done. You're going to put it on a title block and you're basically going to just ship it as is. But there's a second floor. It's a 2-part milestone assignment. This first part took me about 30 minutes to get here, but then again, I am faster at this. And I am also taking my time and explaining why I'm doing things out loud. But regardless, let's talk about the second floor. So what we're going to do in order to do the second story, we're going to do another save as command. We're going to save as first, we do a regular save, make sure this progress is saved, and then we do a save as command. M3, maybe M3.2, doesn't really matter. As long as it is, you still save it, and it's still milestone 3 that we're doing here. Great. What we're going to do from here, we have some things I want to notice first. I want us to notice that we don't see much of the garage. We don't see much of the porch on either side. We do see the stair, and we have additional railing here. And there's this like kind of open space here, and we have walls throughout here. What we're going to do is I'm going to start off by trimming out a lot of walls or removing a lot of these walls. I'm going to erase the stair we just drew, like so, because this goes into the basement. We're not looking into the basement anymore. I'm going to get rid of these walls. I'm going to get rid of these walls. And I'm going to point some things out in a moment. I may want to keep this guy, but honestly, I'm going to erase all of the walls on the interior of this building. And I'll get them back. Cool. Notice a couple things. We have these gaps in the walls in all these locations. Your best bet is to erase all of them except for one line, and then use a fillet command to bring them back together. Erase all of them except for one line, fillet command to stitch it back. Erase all of them except for one line, fillet them to bring it back together, and I'm a broken record. That's it. I'm keeping the stair. I'm even going to remove that tread and like this section here because it's broken technically, so I'll be able to maneuver it later. What's next is I need to modify the garage and the porches. So I'm going to erase all of these except for that line. Fill this together. Same thing on the other side. Fill this together. Basically get one long line here. And I'm also going to remove these interior 3 wall lines and extend it up on either side. Notice how this is one long line here. I don't want that. I'm going to trim that and draw another line there. I know I'm on my stair layer, but that's fine. From here, I'm going to select all of these 3 kind of outcroppings. I'm going to click on the drop down here and I'm going to change this to A Beyond. That's a layer that we had to create for today. A Beyond, 7/1000 of an inch. Great. This is a great jumping off point, and this is exactly where we want to be. I'm going to perform another save command. And I'm going to set a wall layer as current. First thing I want to do, I want to get this vertical wall that bisects this section here. It's going to be 12 feet 10 1/16 from the exterior to the left. Offset 12 feet 10 and 1/16. From the exterior to the left, offset by 3.5, because again it's on the left, so offset to the right. Use a trim command and clean up the 2 ends. That is this wall here. At this point, I may even, I'll keep this paper on here only because it's good to have. Next up, I'm going to do the horizontal lines. So we have this plumbing wall, 10 foot 10 1/2, offset 10 foot 10 1/2 inches from exterior to top. Exterior to top, offset 5.5, like so. And this line, or this wall, bisects, like so. Then I'm going to offset down 5/7 and 7/16. 5 feet 7/16. That's from top to top. Offset 3.5 downwards. Turn out like so. Do a save command. We're looking good so far. I want to bring this break wall in 2 feet 2 1/2. Offset, sorry, 6 feet 2 1/2. 6 2 1/2. Like so. Offset 3.5. Again, what I'm essentially doing is I am, anytime something that has 2 defined ends, I'm giving it to that. There's many ways you can do this. Next up, we have this little thing here. 4 3 1/4, 2 4 5/16. 4 foot 3 1/4. Be 1 foot 8 1/2. Is it from left to left? Let me just verify. Left to left. Offset 3.5. I will even trim that guy for now. And note from here, from the bottom to the top, offset 1 foot 8.5. Like so. And then offset 3.5. I'll even do an extend, trim. Looking great so far. Do another save command. I only have 2 more sections of walls to do. I have this little group here and this group up top. Let's start down here. This wall on the outside, 3 10 1/2. Offset 3 feet 10 1/2. Left to left. So. Offset 3.5. Notice how this wall lines up with this stair. It's also a great way to check yourself as you're going. Next up, I have 5 7 1/2. 5 feet 7 1/2 from exterior to bottom in this case. Offset 3.5. And then I also have 1 3 1/2 bottom to bottom. Offset 1 foot 3 1/2. Bottom, offset 3.5, upwards. From here, I'm going to do a couple trims, clean this all up. Trim, trim, and trim that guy, erase, oops, oof, erase. Technically that is correct there. Trim those, just like so. Because this wall looks like, just like so. Next up, I'm going to do the other side. It is going to be 310.5. It's essentially lined, it is lined up with this wall here, 511, exterior to bottom. Offset 5'11", bottom, offset 3.5, up, trim, erase, trim. And then I'm just going to, very simply, just because I have a known location, I'm going to draw a line up from here. Offset that by 3.5 to the left. Trim. I'll even just do a fillet command. Repeat the fillet command. Looking great. Next up, I want to modify or finish this stair, per se. First thing that's going to help me do that is knowing where this line right here. It is 10 feet 3 3/4 from the exterior side. Offset 10 feet 3 3/4 down. I'm going to make sure I match properties with the stair line, and I'm even just going to bring this in like so. I'm going to fillet it with the right side of the stair. Just like that. I'm then going to do an offset, or in this case, I'm probably just going to copy this because this is already split in a couple locations. I'm just going to copy this up until it is right before the top. Is where it wants to end. Just like so. I'm going to do an extend command, just extend these up. You can also set boundaries or borders. Well, I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to extend. Phenomenal. I'm going to make sure that my A stair layer is set current. And I'm going to draw a line from right on this corner up to this point here. Just like so. This is on here as well. Now, for the rest of this, I'm going to justify or look at my stair drawing, which is this guy here. A lot of this information I don't necessarily need and I already know. And I can just double check myself on all of this stuff. It is 1.5 inches from this line and then 2 inches. 1.5 inches from this line and then 2 inches. Very, very basic. Offset 1.5. This is being offset 1.5 inches up. This is being offset 1.5 inches left. Offset by 2 inches. That left again, and this one up again. Match properties to make sure these are on the rail layer to help me. I'm going to do a trim command, clean up that guy there. And I'm going to do a fillet to get this. Now, the railing up here, it reaches the same height. Oops, wrong piece here. The railing up there reaches the same height. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. The easiest way by far, like we've been doing, tried and true, draw a line across, offset it down by, so 2 inches, fillet, 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 match properties to make sure it's a rail layer, just like so. But we're not completely out of the woods yet. We only have one thing left to draw on this, and that is our beam up here. This is a big open area, and there's roof above it, and it needs to be supported. So what we're going to do is, we have this dimension 7 feet 11 from the bottom of this wall here, and then there's your beam. So, offset 7 feet 11, bottom of this wall. Select this wall, make sure it's on my A-beam layer. And then I'm just going to literally bring it all the way to the end there. Perfect. From here, you're going to put you're going to go back and you're going to reopen your Milestone 3.1 and have your Milestone 3.2, your first and your second floors essentially, and you are going to submit both of these pages as PDFs. Save them as M3.1 and M3.2. Later, we're going to go over PDF combining potentially, and we're going to talk about being able to have multiple things on one file. So noticing, just make sure, good draftsmanship, make sure stuff makes sense. Great. Thank you very much, and I hope this is informative and helpful. If you have any questions, you know how to reach me. It's on the syllabus.